Dad. Hey, how are you guys doing? The kids always look forward to their weekly video calls with their dad, who was working in another country. I thought once his job overseas ended, we could finally be a happy family of four again. My name is Sarah. I got married to my husband, Adam, right after finishing college. We've been dating since high school, and he was my first love. Our relationship felt like something out of a fairy tale. For the first 5 years of our marriage, everything was perfect. We had two wonderful boys, and Adam's career was going great. He had to move abroad for work, leaving me to raise our sons alone. It wasn't easy, but I managed with the help of my parents. That night, it was time for our weekly video call with Adam. The kids were so excited to talk to him. By the time the call started, my parents, the kids, and I were all gathered in front of the computer. It felt like a mini family event. I really wanted to have a private chat with Adam to talk about my struggles and future plans, things I didn't want the kids to hear. Hoping for some alone time, I set up the computer in the living room. Hey, how are you kids? Have you been behaving? Adam's face lit up with a big smile as the boys eagerly talked to him. He looked happy and healthy, just like always. The boys were bubbling with excitement, telling him everything about their week and asking when he would come home. My parents watched, smiling at the lively conversation. It felt like life was going smoothly and we were a happy family. After a while, the kids started getting sleepy, which worked out perfectly. With the time difference, it was late for them, but they had taken naps earlier so they could stay up for the call. Who's putting the kids to bed? You two can talk alone for a bit, my parents said as they took the boys upstairs. I was so grateful for their kindness. It meant a lot. Adam and I spent the next half hour talking about the kids and our future. Lucas swam 25 yards on his own the other day. He's been so excited about swimming lately, and Noah's been doing great in school. His teacher even praised him. I'm really proud of them, I told him. I've been thinking a lot lately, I added. Thanks to your job, we're doing well, but the boys are growing up so fast. I wish they could spend more time with you during these important years. I know it's not easy, though. I get it, Adam said. But this project is really important for my career. Once it's done, things will be easier, and I'll have more time for all of you. Let's hang in there for the kids. He reassured me, and we kept chatting for a while. I told him funny stories about my friends and asked about his day, but soon I was too tired to keep going. My parents came back downstairs after putting the kids to bed, and they looked just as sleepy as I felt. I'm sorry, I'm so exhausted, I told Adam. I've got an early morning tomorrow, so I'm heading to bed. I thought I ended the call, but I was so sleepy that I only turned off the camera and speaker. The call was still connected, though I didn't realize it. To Adam, it must have looked like I'd hung up. Feeling content after spending some quality time with Adam, I said, thank you both for putting the kids to bed. Let's all get some rest too. Good night. As I was about to get up from my chair, I heard Adam's cheerful voice speaking to someone. All right, family call done. Hey, you can come over now. Wait, what? Was the call still on? It seemed like someone was coming to his place. Earlier, Adam had mentioned he needed to visit the project site for an inspection, so I assumed it might be a coworker. But his tone, so sweet and overly excited, made me uneasy. The sleepiness I felt earlier disappeared instantly. I told myself it was probably just a work colleague. Maybe I was worrying for no reason. Still, I decided to hit the record button on the screen, just in case. Adam left the room to take a shower, leaving the bed visible on the screen. My parents, who were still sitting nearby, looked uneasy too. He can't hear us now, can he? My mom asked in a hushed voice. No, the camera and microphone are off, I replied. My dad frowned and said it wasn't right to snoop. He reminded me that I should have ended the call properly. Just a little longer, until he leaves for work, I insisted. I just want to see how he gets ready. Reluctantly, my parents stayed with me as we watched the screen. About 15 minutes later, we'd heard the doorbell ring. Hold on, I'm coming, Adam's cheerful voice called out. I tried to convince myself there was nothing unusual about it. Taking a shower before work and having someone pick him up sounded normal. But something about his upbeat tone still felt off. We saw him come out of the bathroom, wearing a bathrobe, and walk across the bedroom. Oh no, this is bad, I thought. Maybe his clothes are in the bedroom, my mom suggested nervously. That's why he's in a bathrobe. Then we heard a woman's voice in the background. Moments later, a young woman, probably in her 20s, appeared on the screen. She walked into the room and wrapped her arm around Adam's waist. It felt like my whole world shattered in that instant. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. "This is it, isn't it?" I whispered, my voice trembling as I stared at the screen with my parents. I wanted to say something stronger, but my throat felt tight, and nothing came out. "I'm going to confront him. I need to deal with this, or I'll never calm down," my dad said angrily. "For now, I'll stay quiet so we can record this as evidence, but I'll make sure he's held accountable." His fury was written all over his face. On the screen, there they were, the woman kissing and laughing with Adam. I felt like the biggest fool. How had I not seen this coming? "I wish we could go on another trip like last time. Do you still have extra money?" she asked, showing him pictures of their trip on her phone. "Don't worry, I've arranged for my paycheck stubs to be separated. Sarah doesn't know how much I make. Plus, I manage all the family savings, so she won't notice if I spend some," Adam replied casually. While I was at home raising our kids, he was off enjoying vacations with her. To make it worse, they'd gone to a place I'd mentioned over and over that I wanted to visit someday. Then they started doing the unthinkable. I felt sick to my stomach, but my parents and I sat there, staring blankly at the screen. "You don't need to watch this, but to bed now. It's not good for you," my dad said gently. "I'll have to see it later as evidence, so I might as well get through it now," I replied, trying to stay strong. After they were done, and just as the woman was getting ready to leave, I quietly turned off the computer. It was 3 a.m. We were all overwhelmed with emotions. My parents looked drained. "Let's go to bed for now," I said softly. We each went to our rooms, but I couldn't sleep. My body felt too heavy to move, and my mind was spinning. My heart was racing as if it might burst. I felt an intense mix of sadness, anger, and heartbreak. I kept wondering if it had all been a nightmare. Who was that woman? Why did this happen? The questions wouldn't stop coming. I tried to calm myself by focusing on my breathing. Eventually, morning arrived. "Mom, you don't look so good," Lucas said, looking worried. "Sorry, I was up late talking to your dad. I didn't get much sleep," I lied. "Nana and I will drop the kids off today," my dad said, stepping in for me. "Feel better, Mom. See you later." Their sweet and innocent words nearly brought me to tears. I held them back and smiled as I sent them off. I knew I needed rest. My mind was a mess, and I couldn't think clearly. After drinking some water, I went back to bed. Adam was supposed to come home in 2 months. I told myself I had to be ready before then, to protect my kids and plan for what was coming. With that thought, I fell into a deep sleep. I must have been more tired than I realized because I slept until the kids came back. "Mom, wake up. Grandpa got us pizza for dinner. Come on," Lucas said, shaking me awake. I dragged myself to the dining room. "Are you feeling better, Mom?" Noah asked, his eyes full of concern. "Yes, I'm feeling much better now that I see you two. Did you have fun today?" I asked, tickling them as I tried to stay cheerful. "Stop it, that tickles," they giggled, their laughter filling the room. Seeing them happy seemed to ease my parents' worry as well. "You can't face a battle on an empty stomach," my dad said as he handed me a slice of pizza. As I ate, I began planning my next steps. First, I needed to figure out who the woman was. Then, I'd find an attorney and start working on the legal side of things, custody, alimony, and everything else. It felt overwhelming, but I knew this was the only way forward. I didn't want to spread rumors by talking to my friends. Thankfully, as a stay-at-home mom, I had time during the day. After dinner, I put the kids to bed and called my parents into the living room. About yesterday, there's no point in dwelling on it. If I didn't have the kids, I might have put it off. But thinking about them makes me focus. "I need your help," I said. Without hesitation, my dad replied, "Of course." "While you were sleeping, I called a lawyer I know. He helped one of my friends who was cheated on by his wife." He said it proudly. I was thankful, though I didn't think it was something to be proud of. I turned to my mom. "I'll help you however I can. I trusted Adam so much, but he betrayed us. I won't feel right if I don't do something about this," she said with determination. I wasn't sure what she was planning, but she seemed oddly calm about the situation. "I made an appointment with a lawyer for this weekend. Can you be there?" My dad asked. Don't worry, I'll watch the kids, my mom said. The next day, we started working on a plan. We had 2 months before Adam came back. We wanted to settle everything before then. First, I checked all the social media platforms. It didn't take long to find out about his mistress. She worked at the same company as him and was a secretary at one of the overseas branches. I went to his company and explained everything to his boss, asking for help. At first, his boss was confused, but when I showed him the video of the affair, he put his hands on his head. I'm so sorry. I'll talk to my supervisor and take the necessary steps, he promised. Next, I talked to the lawyer about filing for divorce, alimony, and all the legal steps. The video evidence of his infidelity was enough on its own, and I also had copies of bank statements and the mistress's contact information. It's almost all set, so don't worry, the lawyer reassured me. Of course, I had to tell Adam's family. At first, they denied it, saying I was just making it up to get alimony. But once I showed them the video, they went quiet and apologized right away. We're so sorry. We'll do everything we can to help you, they said. The hardest part was explaining everything to the kids. I honestly didn't know what to tell the kids. If I lied and said Adam couldn't come home for a while because of work, they'd grow up thinking he would eventually visit, and I didn't want to give them that hope. I made up my mind and told them, your dad lied to me in a very unforgivable way. I'm very hurt, and I can't live with him anymore. When he comes back, I know you'll miss him, but will you stay with me? They didn't fully understand what was going on, but they said they wanted to be with me. I couldn't stop the tears. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Then the day Adam came back arrived. I told him I had made a reservation at a restaurant to welcome him home with the family. I waited with my parents, and his boss. When Adam arrived, my father-in-law, holding back his anger, asked, is there anything you want to tell us? What's going on, boss? All of you. What is this? He asked, confused by the situation. There's no point in hiding it anymore. All I need is your signature. I slammed the divorce papers, the alimony charges, and a letter from his company on the table. He was stunned, frozen in place, while my in-laws began yelling at him. I told him to speak to my lawyer and left the restaurant with my parents. After that, his messages flooded in. I want to start over with you. I was wrong. I love you with all my heart. Please forgive me. I told him to go through my lawyer and blocked him. He tried to get close by showing up in front of my house a few times, and he even tried to talk to my parents in a strange, friendly way. He reached out to mutual acquaintances to get to me, but I ignored him. When he showed up at my house, I called the police, and my parents completely shut him out. I told my friends everything and made sure people knew the truth. Left with no support, he became desperate. Later, I heard that when I called the police, he got out of control. He was charged with assault and battery and added to the National Criminal Database. At the court hearing, he asked to see the kids at least once a month. When I asked, does he really think he has the right to see them, he went quiet. He did have the right to see them, but only if they asked, and I would be present during the visit for a limited time. Since his return, Adam had been having a rough time. He lost his family, was cut off by his parents, and eventually got laid off from his job. Now he was struggling to pay alimony while working part-time jobs. The salary Adam lied about and the savings he wasted ended up working against him, forcing him to cover a large portion of the alimony. He also broke up with his mistress. He couldn't afford child support, so his parents stepped in and paid it for him as a way of apologizing to their grandchildren. At first, he saw the kids, but as they grew older and understood what happened, they started wanting to see him less and less. From the moment I found out about his affair to the day of the divorce, it all happened so quickly. It's almost funny to think about now. Honestly, I don't feel any sympathy or sadness for him anymore, no matter where he is or what he's going through. As for me, I invested the alimony money in stocks and was very successful. I managed to send my kids to college without any trouble. Now that they're independent, I bought a small house in the countryside and enjoy a peaceful life on my own. What I love most now is spending time with my adorable grandchildren. Although it's not as convenient as the city, with all its amenities, the countryside has lots of nature, fresh air, and a wonderful community. I don't have many reasons to visit the city, so I'm very happy here. I'm surrounded by a loving family. My sons bring their families to visit me during summer vacations. Every day, I remind myself that I'll never take this happiness for granted.